Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of the Tomei Show. This is our 4th episode. So glad you could join us today. We have an amazing show for you lined up. Had the opportunity to speak with your assistant principal, Mr. DeAngelo. Mr. DeAngelo will be joining us. We were able to talk about how distance learning has changed the way we teach and learn, and we also talked about how we used to play basketball together, and so it'll be interesting to see who won those matchups. Also on the show today is Tatt Momei. Tatt Momei is back. He called me the other day and asked to sing a song on the show. I have no idea what this song is. I do know my daughter Dahlia will be also performing on drums with Tatt, so that should be awesome. Really looking forward to seeing that. But first, this. Wearing masks have become a part of our everyday life. Some governors are even declaring them mandatory when you go out in public. So, good news for amateur ventriloquists. Now that the majority of business meetings and social events are held on Zoom, many people are cleaning their homes now more so than ever. Or, as I like to call it, moving stuff from one side of the couch to the other. I'm sure we're all feeling a bit bored now. But did you know in 1665, Sir Isaac Newton developed theories on calculus during a plague? Do you have any idea how bored you would have to be to invent calculus? We have a great show for you today. Mr. DeAngelo, Tatt Momei, but first, your math fact of the day. We have a really special treat right now. Mr. Tatt Momei is in the house. He's going to perform a song for us. My daughter Dahlia will be performing on drums. Still don't know what the song is about. Can't wait to hear it. Tatt, so glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Take it away, Tatt.
Grass is green and the sky is blue all day.
All day!
Started my fame on the show that's called Tomei.
Tomei!
Kids seemed to like me, so I came right back. Now I'm making my songs as a matter of fact. I'm Tatt Momei.
He's Tatt Momei.
Word on the street is Matt Tomei can't teach.
Can't teach.
Kids say I'm better than Matt Tomei. I'm Tatt Momei.
He's Tatt Momei.
I'm making movies and I teach some math, helping students to find their path. I'm Tatt Momei.
He's Tatt Momei.
Got longer hair and I wear better clothes than Matt.
Better clothes than Matt.
He's always saying that he wishes he could be like Tatt.
Be like Tatt.
3 times 8 is 24. Gonna push Tomei right out the door. I'm Tatt Momei.
He's Tatt Momei.
That's enough. That's we're good. That was, we heard enough. Yeah. Well, why don't we roll to the interview I did with DeAngelo? That'd be great. All right, let's roll to that. We'd like to welcome a very special guest right now to the Tomei Show, Mr. DeAngelo. Mr. DeAngelo, welcome.
Welcome. How you doing, Mr. Tomei?
Very good, very good. Mr. DeAngelo, you are an assistant principal at Roger Ludlowe Middle School and
Fairfield Woods Middle School.
Fairfield Woodsman. And which one do you like better?
I couldn't quite hear you. Go on to the next question. You know I'm a bulldog at heart.
Fantastic. So, an assistant principal, and so what do you what are aspects of the job do you really enjoy?
Well, I like the job in the fact that no 2 days are the same. There's a lot of responsibilities. I didn't really know, you know, the totality of those responsibilities until I actually got the job. But there's a lot of responsibilities for a middle school assistant principal, and no 2 days are the same. So I like the aspect of that in itself, that no 2 days are the same. I could
Right.
be a district-wide meeting with all of the administrators around the town. I might be in a meeting just with middle school administrators. I might be working with teams of teachers, crews of crew meetings and whatnot. So every day is a little bit different, and I like that about the job.
Right. And for you, especially as we mentioned, you're going to two different schools. Are there any times where you're at two different schools on the same day?
On Wednesdays, I'm actually at Ludlowe on Mondays and Tuesdays, and
Okay.
then Wednesdays morning up until about half the day. And then I pack up my bag of tricks and head over to Woods for Wednesday afternoons, and then Thursdays and Fridays.
And is that a challenge, or do you like that? Do you enjoy that?
Both. It's a challenge because I have to have two places where I work. I have two computers. You're packing up my things and I'm bringing them from place to place. And at times I've forgotten an important piece of paper, something like that. So it's a little bit of a challenge. And plus I have to know, two buildings of teachers.
Right.
The schools are the same, but they operate a little bit differently too. Two sets of communities, so different kinds of kids or parents. So at times it's challenging, but I do actually really like it.
Great. So before becoming my boss, you were a teacher and then a dean.
Yes.
So how did that transition? How was that transition from teacher to being an administrator in the same building?
Well, if I remember correctly, Mr. Tomei, you and I got hired the same exact day.
Is that true? I knew the same year. I didn't know the same day.
Yeah, well, the same year, and I think we were put on the same crew.
I've
right?
aged better, by the way.
Yeah, a lot better. Well, I'm considerably older than you, but we got hired at the same time, and I was the science part of the crew. You taught math in LA, I believe, and yeah. So I spent my first time at school was just teaching science. Year two for me, I became part-time dean, so I was dean for the sixth grade, and I taught some science classes. And then a couple of years later, I became just the dean of students, just like Mr. Przicki is now. And up until last year, that's where I served. And then last year, I was hired as an assistant principal. It's split between two schools. So it's been a change. I like change. I like to be challenged. I like different aspects of education. I've always loved education. I come from a family of educators. My grandmother was a teacher who actually started teaching in Italy and then came to the States and taught here.
Wow.
So I've always had a deep respect for education. So I've really enjoyed seeing the different looks for responsibilities. Obviously, teaching is the greatest profession, I believe. There is no school for being a dean. So that's just something that you kind of work yourself into if you really, really like working with kids and kind of being an intermediary between a lot of people. That's basically what the dean is. He kind of works between the teachers and the parents and the kids and the administration. And then I went back to school. I got my 092, my certificate, my 092 certificate. Kids, teachers need certificates to teach you. So they can't teach you unless they have their teaching certificate. Then it takes a different certificate to be an administrator. So when I achieved that, got this job, and now I sit before you now.
Yeah, it's great. So the big elephant in the room. How has your job changed since distance learning started?
Oh, I think like everybody, I had to get comfortable with technology that I had, maybe a little dabbled with before, but never really got fully invested in. Having a meeting online, I'm in a lot of meetings online. It's not the same as being face to face. I'm a real face to face kind of guy, so it's hard. It was hard for me to interact with people, virtually. like you and I are doing now. And in meetings, I kind of have a big boisterous mouth, and it's hard to kind of wait my turn and know when to click my microphone on and off and that kind of thing. So it's been a learning curve for that for me, and I had to really bone up on my Google Classroom. I think kids are quicker learners than adults are, so it took me some time to learn how to interact in a Google Classroom and those kind of things. So it's been a challenge. It's been a real challenge.
Well, yeah, I mean, it has been a challenge. But it's been a good challenge. I think we've all, like you said, we've all learned from it, and so we'll be better people and better learners and educators after this, I think.
Definitely.
So, on a personal level, have you had time, or have you had any availability to pick up any hobbies or interest, or maybe revisit any old hobbies or interests?
That's a really good question. I've been reading more than I had previously. I've been able to be home, obviously, a lot more than I was in the past, and kind of bringing out some old books that I want to revisit, and ordering some new books, even some books online.
Right.
And it's been nice for me to rekindle my love of reading, and been doing a little bit of outdoor stuff. The weather hasn't been great, Mr. Tomei, as you know. So I'm trying to do a little bit of outside walking and hiking with my family. And you're going to love this, Mr. Tomei. I did start to pick up a new hobby.
What's that?
You and I in the past have actually talked about guitar playing, and I think you actually gave me a really truncated little lesson at some point. And I ordered a guitar.
Fantastic. I'm excited to hear that.
So you might have to give me some tutoring lessons at some point. So
I will teach you how to play endlessly.
Endlessly, yes. Old favorite of mine.
That's fantastic. Very exciting.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So finally, one last question. So as we're good friends. We go back a while. We used to play basketball together until you became an assistant principal and my boss. You showed up every now and then, but you're very busy now. So can you just explain to the kids how I just dominated you on the court?
I would never lie to a child, Mr. Tomei. There's different kinds of players, boys and girls. There's scorers, and there's people that play both sides of the ball. I'm a both sides of the ball kind of guy. I play a ferocious defense. Mr. Tomei can attest to that. I'm not much of a scorer. So, yes, Mr. Tomei, per game, you always outscored me. But I'm a well-rounded player. You know that.
I think I left with the injury 9 out of 10 times. I was guarding you.
No fouls. No fouls.
Well, I do appreciate you being a guest on the Tomei Show, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the year, if it's online or in person. But I really do appreciate you being here.
Well, I'm super glad you asked me. I'm a big fan of the Tomei Show. I'm a subscriber, so I'm looking forward to see how this piece together. And I just want to just say to the kids, if you would let me, just say how impressed that I am with all their hard work. Miss Tiley and Miss Shaughnessy and I, we talk about it every day. We are blown away with how hard the kids are working, how hard teachers like you, Mr. Tomei, are working to make this work. And no one person, no one administrator, no one teacher, no one kid can make it work. We all got to be in this together. And this will all be a memory someday. We'll be back in school. We'll be with each other again. But until then, please know that Roger Ludlowe Middle School is very, very proud of all of the hard work you're doing. And, thank you so much for that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. DeAngelo. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Well, that's all the time we have in today's show. I hope you enjoyed it. My thanks to Mr. DeAngelo and Tatt Momei, I think. In any case, until next time, be calm, be brave, everything will be okay.
Thank you.